Yo, everybody. Alright, so I'm trying to stay warm here because it is fucking cold, man. Yeah, I gotta stay warm. I'll show you in a second why I gotta stay warm. Oh. See, I got this long stick now, so I can stream like that, which is really cool. I like that. You just like put it so far away while walking. It's a selfie stick. Selfie stick. So this is just gonna be a little walk here around Krakow, or Nowa Huta. That's what it's called, Nowa Huta. I'm just gonna wait a little bit. But why wait, right? Why wait? Because anyways, most people that join just ask like really random questions, and what I'm trying to do with the channel is I'm trying to have like some regular people. I just wonder if I can fix the way that I do the tripod. Because the problem is if I pull it out like that, you can't really see me, you know? I gotta hold it like that the whole time. It's kind of awkward for my hand, because my hand is holding like the stick in the middle. I mean, this is much more comfortable, but I'm trying to think through my brain of like a way that you could hold this where it's not awkward. I think you need like a special mount, especially because I have a very oh, what's up, Robert? Thank you for joining the stream, my friend. So I'm just showing you guys around Krakow right now. What up, Ankur? Ankur Mandal. Yeah, it's snowing in Krakow again. Another day of snow and cold weather. It's probably below 5 now, -5 Celsius. So that's quite cold. You know, if you go outside without gloves, you're gonna be freezing. I mean, you can see right now that there's just a shit ton of snow everywhere, you know. And yeah, it's really cold. So that's why I have gloves. Because today in the morning I went out without gloves, and man, my hands were frozen. And even having something like this, you know, something to protect your face or your neck, I have this little guard here, you know, that I can put over my face like that. So that's quite nice for the wind and stuff. But yeah, let me go through the park maybe. I think it's gonna actually snow probably throughout the night, and it's kind of like wet snow. Yeah, the snow is very wet. But you can see here in the park, it's just all white. Oh brother, yeah. Definitely something hot would be nice. The only problem for me right now, I mean, no, I could have a soup. I'm on a weird diet. It's called the elimination diet, where you just eat specific things and you can't eat like too many things. But what I would like to have is a hot chocolate. That would be really awesome. But I just cannot have a hot chocolate. But yeah, you just made me think of nice hot food. maybe even like a soup, like a tomato soup would be nice. Okay, so this is the frozen lake. Let me show you real quick. Yeah, this lake is frozen. There's somebody ice skating right there, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean this place is very beautiful, you know, and it's all lit up too, which is super cool because if you walk in the night, you know, you're gonna feel very safe. Yeah, you're gonna feel very safe walking around here. I mean, nobody really walks at this time of the night because it's already too late, you know. It's just people like us contemplating about life and complaining about life. What do you mean, what the heck? Is that a question or is that a response? You had some emotion come up and you just commented that emotion in the chat. But yeah, the lake here, so you can see how much snow there is right now. It's just crazy amount of snow. What up, Anthony? Hola, hola. Yeah, it's very pretty though when it snows. I mean, when it snows, it's very, very beautiful. And right now it's like a windy snow. So when it gets into your eyes, it kind of stings a little bit. The whole lake is, yeah. I mean, the whole lake is frozen, my friend. You know, I just showed you right now. It looks pretty cool though. And you can just walk literally all the way across, you know, to the other side. Maybe I'll do it when I go around, but I'm actually afraid. You know, what if I fall? Anthony, where's Anthony from? What flag is that? Oh, I have no clue about that flag. Red, white, and red. I feel like that's somewhere in South America, maybe. But probably I'm wrong. Maybe somewhere in the Caribbean. I don't know. Never seen that flag before. This thing is all messed up. Tilt it to one side. Yeah, so there's a cool thing here in the park. We have like kid toys. You know, we don't live too far away from here, and this area is very nice. And kids just can come here and play. But I mean, in the winter time, it's everything is frozen, so I'm sure none of the kids want to play with these toys. So yeah, let's talk about Poland, because that's actually why I came out here right now, just to kind of have a little conversation with myself. And I really enjoy to walk in the nighttime because it's very peaceful. I mean, that's one thing I really love about living here, is that I have a lot of personal space. So I can just walk out my door and I can go for a nice long walk. And yeah, I can just contemplate about life. And right now, you know, I'm living in Krakow. And living in Krakow is quite nice. You know, there are a lot of luxuries of living in Krakow. Like, what are the luxuries? You know, the transportation system is great. There's a lot of cafes. We have a lot of entertainment. You know, there's rock climbing. There's martial art classes. There's pizza, lots of pizza. Lots of restaurants. Lots of cute little places. You know, and living in Krakow is like very, very, very fun. Especially also if you have kids. There's a lot of kid places. Obviously, the winter sucks. I mean, the winter sucks, and that's because the weather. I mean, it gets very cold, and most days it's very cloudy. You're lucky if you get a day with sunshine. And as you know, in Eastern Europe, I mean, everywhere the days get shorter. So you wake up, it's like maybe 8 or 9, and it's cloudy. Then you go out, it's cloudy, and then it's already 3 o'clock, and then it's dark, and that kind of sucks a little bit. And what else was I gonna say? Yes, not a lot of sun. Another thing here is like the pollution. So we've been dealing with some really bad pollution recently. I mean, it's always like this here in the winter time. There's a lot of pollution because old people tend to burn coal and obviously firewood to heat up their houses. So this is very common in all the villages here. Even my grandparents still do it. And sometimes, people even burn like things that they're not supposed to burn, like colored wood or boxes or whatever they can throw in the ovens to heat the houses. And that's just like a normal thing. And yeah, it looks very beautiful right now, no? Like if I show you again, it's like a winter wonderland. Very, very nice right now. Just called old people. Yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, that's what the government is trying to do. The government is like trying to invest a lot of money into switching the heating systems. Even now, my grandfather, he had like an old heater, but he no longer can use that like firewood heater, and he has to change it for a new one. And I mean, he doesn't get any money or any financial aid. He just has to basically spend out of pocket to get a new heater for his house, and it costs a lot of money, especially if you're an old person and you don't really get so much money for your retirement. It can be a really big expense. So I understand why a lot of houses still burn coal and wood, but I don't think that's actually the problem. Because I think more the problem is like the industry and just, I don't know, factories and things like that, different plants. And I can't really be specific about it because I don't know anything about this, but I feel like, burning firewood and coal, I mean, it probably has some effect, but also the factories. And when you make stuff, obviously you're gonna release something into the air, especially if you're making metal or you're making anything like for the industry. You're gonna release some pollutants, and that's all gonna go in the air. And then especially cars, right? Cars produce a lot of pollution too. And then the air quality just gets worse and worse. And if you look at the graph of air quality here in Krakow, it actually got worse, not better. So I don't know why that is. If they're doing so much to improve the air quality, why is the air pollution getting worse and worse? And there's a lot of different factors. But me and my girlfriend just decided that it's not really worth it for us to live in Poland at this time, because the air quality is just really horrible in the winter time. I mean, if you were here about 4 days ago, I think that's when it started, if you went outside, you would have a really hard time breathing. And I exercise regularly and go for runs, and I like to take walks, and I like to take my daughter for walks. And just being in that type of air really sucks and makes you kind of reconsider things. Because why would I want to destroy my health, to live in such a beautiful country? But obviously there's the vice of like destroying my lungs, because I have to breathe this polluted air. And again, it's only in the winter time. Poland is really awesome. It's a really cool country. It's a nice place to live. But I think for like those months from December until the end of March, it's just not worth it. Because you're gonna breathe in poor quality air. And I think in the long term it's gonna really affect you. And I don't know, there's just like a different atmosphere also here in Poland in the wintertime. To me, it seems like people are very, very depressed and just don't want to interact, don't want to be happy. If you go to America and it's wintertime, people still try to be like optimistic and try to uplift each other. But here, it's just a different atmosphere here in the winter. People just get really depressed. And I think, air quality has to do, it's like a big factor. And also, because probably people don't take vitamins, they don't supplement, and there's not a lot of sun. And people forget to take vitamin D and other vitamins to stay healthy, and to feel good. Like me and my girlfriend, we take supplements. And we know that it's really important to take vitamin D, vitamin C, omegas, and all this other crap. But I'm sure a lot of people don't do that. And also here in the wintertime, there's a big culture of drinking alcohol. Like, what else would you be doing, right? In weather like this, it's quite depressing. So yeah. And again, this is just my experience, everybody has their own experience. And I know that I could live in Krakow and be happy and go to different activities, go to events, and really get involved and have an awesome winter here. And I've done that before, and I know how it looks like, how it feels like. But again, the air quality and some other little things just bother me too much to actually live in Krakow in the wintertime. And there are obviously other cities in Poland. There are obviously other cities in Poland that have better air quality, like I checked. And some cities like, I think Białystok, like white something, Białystok, that's what it's called. There's another city. What's the other city called? Let me think about it a little bit. Olsztyn, Elbląg, something like that. And a lot of the cities in the north, or some of the cities in the north, have better air quality. But it's not like great air quality. It's just like on the moderate level, which is like 50 MPI, or I don't know how they say that. But it's like a range from 0 to like 300 or something, or more. And most of the clean air cities in Poland are around like 50 on average, which is moderate, which means that for people with breathing problems, it's not the best, because long-term exposure to that type of air can have consequences. So that's what we decided. I wanted to share that Poland is probably not going to be the place for us right now. We'd like to go somewhere where there's clean air, because I think it's really important, especially for our daughter, to be in an environment where... Was that the freight train? No, that was... Oh yeah, that was. That's funny that you heard it. because I just faintly heard like the loud horn also right now. But yeah, that was definitely a freight train. I mean, I think there are train tracks not too far away from here, maybe like a 10-minute walk. But yeah, so air quality, because we have a daughter, you know, so we want to make sure that, you know, she gets the best air quality possible, or that we give her the best start in life possible. And I think the most important thing for a child is air quality, their environment, and we just want to raise her in a place with pure air, with people that interact with her, and just like an environment that's going to nurture her growth. And so we're going to be moving to Spain pretty soon. We lived in Spain before, but we just moved away because we had like some situation happen between me and my girlfriend, and we kind of fixed that. And so now we're kind of ready to go back to Spain and start all over again. And we really liked Spain. We lived in the south of Spain near Malaga, and yeah, we had like a good experience, but also there were some things that we didn't like, because in the south there's kind of a lack of nature, and also it depends on where you live. But we wanted to live somewhere where it was going to be more green, so we thought, why not move to the north of Spain? So I think that's going to be our next destination, is to move to the north of Spain, because yeah, there's just a lot more nature there, and it's a little bit less touristy, you know. And these were some of the things that were bothering us when we lived in the south of Spain. There's just a lot of tourism, a lot of traffic all the time, and yeah, it's very populated. In Malaga, there's just so many people, so many tourists. It's beautiful. It's very cool if you're a single person and you want to live there alone. Like, definitely go there and spend like a couple years there. But I think when you're raising a kid, you want more quiet and you want more peace. That's awesome. How you guys can move freely across Europe? Well, the thing is, you know, we don't have so much money. We basically have to do this using our savings, and maybe we're gonna need to borrow some money from our parents. But yeah, I'm also gonna start working online now, so I'm starting to do a little bit of video editing again, something that I used to do in the past for money. And it's, yeah, today I got my first client. I made like €8 for one job. You know, it was like a shit job, but I need to build up a resume again, or kind of like a portfolio. But yeah, you know, it's savings and basically me working online. So, and yeah, the good thing about moving to Spain, and what kind of will make it a little bit easier for us, is that we already live there, you know. So my girlfriend, she speaks like not perfect, but like really good Spanish. I speak basic Spanish. I've already had a job there. I have an NIE number, which is like it's like a social security number. And then we also have the people that we rented from, we have their contact. So I think if we give them as kind of like a reference, if we're looking for apartments, it's going to make it much easier, because they've been really helpful to us, and we've like paid rent on time. We kept their apartment very clean, and so they really liked us. So I think that will kind of help us a little bit. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to stay there for a long time, you know. Right now we just want to experiment. We want to see how it is over there, but definitely we're going to be there for the next couple of years. Yeah, because I think we are at a place right now where we don't really know where we want to settle down. We don't really know where we want to live. We don't really know what we want to do with our lives. I mean, my girlfriend, she's studying, so that kind of keeps her busy. But for me, it's like I can do anything I want until money runs out. Then it's like, okay, now you gotta like you get a fucking job and go to work every day. You know, right now I have maybe a few months of freedom because I can use a little bit of my savings. But obviously there is that stress of like, you know, when the money runs out, what am I gonna do? And you know, my parents are not rich. You know, my father, he's like an alcoholic, so he doesn't have any money. My mom, she's working class, so she also doesn't have any money. You know, she works hard and I'm not gonna ask her for money. You know, my brother, he's also working a lot and he's also struggling with money. My grandparents never really gave us money. Yeah, so we never really got money, you know, apart from like little donations here and there from our mom, you know, to help us out from time to time. But other than that, you know, like everybody's working and everybody has it quite tough when it comes to money. Yo, what's up? School face. Yeah, but for me, I don't know, with money, I've always had money. I don't know how. There's always been ways that I've gotten money, and it's not from borrowing from anybody, but it's just somehow, you know, the money arrived. It was either from like me finding a random job, or me selling something, or yeah, obviously getting help from somebody, or I don't know, getting like a refund for something that I bought and I didn't use maybe, or hacking the system in some way to get some money from insurance. Yeah, so I've been quite clever with money. But like I said, I don't really have so much money. I have money for maybe the next few months and that's all. So I just gotta be really frugal. And also, yeah, that's another thing, being frugal. You know, because I don't understand like people who have a lot of money, but all of a sudden they just don't have any money anymore because they spend it on a nice car or something that's just so stupid, like a television or a pair of shoes that cost like $400. You know, I just don't understand this at all. Like I could not spend my money this way. Let's go through the park over there. Yeah, I could not spend my money this way. You know, I never spend my money and shit like that. You know, if I spend my money on something, it's either on something that is going to be useful to my life. Like recently I bought a laptop, you know, and that's because I use it for video editing, for AI work, and a couple other things. And also, you know, I bought a laptop because I can sell my old laptop because it's a MacBook. You know, with MacBooks you can always sell like the older version if you have it, and you will get at least like 50% of the money. It's not like with other computers, you know, like a Windows computer or whatever, unless it's like a flagship computer. With a MacBook, you know, there's always gonna be some student or someone who wants a MacBook. So yeah, just being frugal. Also with food, you know, not overspending on dumb shit that we don't need. Going out, typically if we go out, you know, it's like a cafe or something and we get a coffee. We never really eat out so much unless it's like a special occasion. Or sometimes we go out for like some Indian food, you know, but that's very cheap. We're not like people who go to fancy places to spend like a couple $100 on a fancy meal. You know, we're happy with going to the Indian place and getting like a nice buttered chicken or tikka masala or whatever there is. Okay, so now we're gonna walk through this area. I've seen this area a little bit, but I didn't really walk through it. Oh no, this is another area. I gotta go a little farther. So yeah, winter wonderland right now. It's very, very beautiful. And yeah, this phone doesn't really have the best stabilization, so hopefully the quality is not too bad. I apologize for that in advance. See, I figured out how I can actually hold my phone in a much better way. I'll have to like hold it basically like this, sideways. Which looks kind of funny, but I could just hold it like that, right? And if I move it a little bit more, there we go. That's not bad, I guess. And then you can see more of what is happening. Yeah, it's just I have a really big phone. I bought this phone for work. It cost me like maybe 140 euros. It's the Redmi Note 14, I think. It's a very cheap phone. I mean, it has like really good features. Like the camera's quite good. The battery is like very good. It can last you up to 2-3 days, maybe 4 days on normal use. Yeah, I don't know where this place is, but there was a way to cross, and I guess I lost it, or maybe it's closed. I don't know. But yeah, as you can see, it's very pretty right now. Nice little benches. Yeah, summertime over here, amazing. Everything is just green. You got the lake here. You got a lot of different parks. You got so many different events. Like a really cool place to live in. Yeah, Krakow is really amazing in the summertime. I would just say, like, if you move to Krakow, book a flight somewhere for January and February, and just spend that time in another country, and then come back here for the spring, the summer, the beginning of fall. Yeah, you're gonna get the best of the best. You're gonna be very happy with Krakow. Like one thing I love about Krakow is the cafes. Yeah, the choices with the cafes is just unlimited, man. Like if you're in the center, you can find so many different cute little cafes. And yeah, you can just bring your laptop, bring your book, or just have a coffee, chill out, look around, and there's a lot of outdoor seating in the summertime, so you can just enjoy yourself, have a coffee, watch life unfold. It's really nice. A lot of different activities also in the summertime. Like Krakow is known for being like the cultural capital. So there's always something going on in the center. And if there isn't anything going on in the center, you have many different cafes, restaurants, and just little events happening around the city, at different places. I used to go often to a pottery workshop. It was at this cute little cafe, and they had it like twice a week. So in the summertime, that was really cool. It was late in the evening, and yeah, it was a very nice vibe. What else did I do? Yeah, a lot of concerts, because there's a lot of beautiful parks. So a lot of free concerts and stuff like that. There's like a jazz festival here in Krakow, I think in the summertime. And a lot, like I said, a lot of cultural activities if you're into that type of stuff. And even this stuff, like right here, You know, like for example, this is like a volleyball court. You know, and they have sand there, so you can play volleyball in the summertime. You can come here to the lake. You know, take your daughter, take your son, take your family, and have like a nice little picnic. Over there, you have like some cute places for food, which is nice if you're bored, and especially if you live in this area. You just walk, go get yourself a coffee, go get yourself a zapikanka, walk around the park, and it's like very, very nice, very comfortable lifestyle in the winter. And yeah, prices in Krakow, you know, they're not too bad. Sometimes, one sec, let me just switch it over again. My hands are freezing. Yeah, so like I said, prices in Krakow aren't too bad. I think it kind of depends on where you go. I mean, in the past, I think 5 years, prices have been increasing a lot, especially after COVID. Like, yeah, funny thing, I wanted to do some jiu-jitsu classes here where I live, and just they're like basic jiu-jitsu classes. And I checked online how much it costs, and it costs about 70 euros for a month of jiu-jitsu classes. You know, and to people who live in like America or Australia or the UK or whatever, some rich countries, you know, to you $70 is not a lot of money. But if you're coming from Poland, $70 or 70 euros, which is like $80, you know, for jiu-jitsu classes is like quite expensive. When I was training in Spain, the maximum I was paying was like 30 to 35 euros per month for like unlimited classes. So 70 euros, it's quite a lot. And I guess you can find cheaper MMA gyms, but yeah, it just kind of surprised me that they would charge that much money for jiu-jitsu classes. And yeah, when I was in Portugal, I trained for like maybe $20 a month, you know, and the classes were like two times a week, and that was like good enough. What else? What other prices? Coffee prices, quite expensive. You know, it goes from like 3 euros to 6 euros. So that's not very cheap, you know. If you get yourself an Americano, you're gonna pay $2.50, which is not so expensive. So I always just get Americano because I'm not trying to spend like 5 euros on a latte. And yeah, the typical price here for like a latte or a cappuccino, you're gonna pay 4 to 5 euros, especially if it's like a nice place. And same thing with tea. You know, if you go to a cafe and you want a tea, like expect to pay about 2 to 4 euros for a tea, which is quite expensive. You know, in Spain, when I was living in the south, for coffee, I get a coffee for like 1.5 euros, sometimes even cheaper. And even if I went to like a really nice place, I'd probably pay like 3 euros for a nice cappuccino or a latte. So yeah, here going out might be a little bit more expensive, I think. But actually, I think when you go out for food, it might be a little bit cheaper. Like today, I got some Indian food. You know, it was rice and chicken because I can only eat like really plain stuff right now. But there was like a big portion for one person, and I would say that was about 5 euros, 5 to 6 euros, which is not bad. And yeah, Indian restaurants, you know, kebab shops, and just like what would you call it, food from other countries, might be a little bit cheaper, like even Thai food. There's a place I know here in the center where you can get some nice coconut, I don't know what do you call it, curry coconut chicken with some rice for like 8 euros, like a big portion. In Spain, I think food might be a little bit more expensive because I mean, it depends on the city. I've never lived in like Madrid or Barcelona. I've been there but never lived there, so I don't really know the prices of food in those places. So I can kind of only talk about the south of Spain, and I would say in the south of Spain you can get like a whole meal for 10 bucks. So I would say the food prices are pretty comparable. But again, if you're living in a place like Krakow, you're gonna have so much variety here because there's just all types of restaurants. The transportation costs, that's another thing that kind of surprises me about Krakow. Transportation is not cheap. It's actually quite expensive. Like for example, a one-way ticket, and over here they have like tickets where it's a time ticket. So so yeah, a time ticket. So for example, you can get a 20-minute ticket. And a 20-minute ticket is perfect if you live in the city center and if you're just trying to get around the city center. But if you live outside of the city center, then you gotta have at least a 60-minute ticket, and these are the two options that they have. And a 20-minute ticket is around €1, and then a 60-minute ticket is, I would say, like €1.50, which is not so bad, right? In the US, if you want to go on a bus, you probably pay around $2 to get on the bus, but you can go as far as you want, as long as you want. So the thing with time tickets, it's a little bit stressful too, because maybe you get like a 20-minute ticket and then it's not long enough, and then you have like 1 minute or 2 minutes left on the bus ride or the tram ride, and then they check your ticket, you get a fine. So it's kind of stupid, this idea of time ticket. I don't really get the shit. When I was living in Spain, I'd pay maybe like 30 cents for just a ticket, one-way ticket, bus, tram, whatever. But over here, yeah, this thing with time tickets, it's a little bit ridiculous. And if you want to get yourself a monthly pass, you're gonna pay, I think, around 50 to 60 euros, which is definitely worth it. If you're like a person that likes to just do stuff, because you're gonna be using it all the time, and you just hop on the tram, and go to your destination, come back home, you're gonna be using the monthly ticket often. And especially if you live in Krakow and you work in Krakow and maybe you pay taxes in Krakow, you can also get discounts on tickets. And the discounted ticket, I think, is like half the price. So transportation is not like cheap, but it's not expensive. But yeah, comparing it to where I lived in Spain, in Malaga, the transportation is just much cheaper. And again, I lived in Malaga, and Malaga is like a really big city, or it's like a medium-sized city. And yes, you could technically compare it to Krakow, because I think the population of Malaga is, I think, around 1 million now. And Krakow is 1 million. So, and the size of Malaga is quite big. It's kind of comparable to Krakow. So yeah, I think Krakow would be the more expensive option in terms of transportation. And then housing. Yeah, housing in Krakow, is it expensive? I think so. If you want to rent something in the center, like a 1-bedroom place, you're probably gonna pay around 700 euros. If you want to rent a 2-bedroom place, you're probably gonna pay around 1,000 euros, or maybe a little bit more. If you live outside the center, you know, you cut that by like 20%. So it's not so much, especially if you're coming from like a wealthy country. You know, that price is not gonna seem a lot to you, but again, if you are from like Eastern Europe, or if you're from a country that yeah, the wages are a little bit lower, you know, these rent prices are going to be quite high to you, because you can literally go to the next city over, for example, like Tarnów, or even Rzeszów, which is like an hour away, and you will pay maybe 30% less for rent. And again, yeah, maybe you're not gonna get all the things that you get here, but you will save a lot of money. But yeah, now the question is it about money, or is it about what you get from where you're living? So to me, I think the more important thing is like the quality of life. But kind of everybody has to define for themselves what quality of life they want and what things make them happy. You know, because for me, living in a big city like Kraków doesn't really make me happy, because there's just so many things going on, and there's not like time just to stop and not do anything, you know. I think when you're living in a city like this, you always want to do something, you always want to be involved, because there's just so much going on that when you're not a part of all the things that are happening, you kind of feel like a little bit isolated, alone. You know, now for example, if you lived in a small village, you know, where there's not many things happening, not a lot of people, and it's just very quiet, I don't think you would have this urge, or you would have this feeling that you're missing out, unless you're on social media a lot, you know, and you see the world, like all these things are happening, and you're here in a little village. But I think if you're living in a little village and you're just like really immersed in that life, you know, all these things of entertainment and needing to do stuff and needing to be productive are not really gonna tempt you, because you're satisfied with like a really simple life. And I think for me, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I mean, I don't want like a village life. I kind of want something in between, where it's like, you know, there's still things that I'm involved in, there's still like some activities, like some of my favorite things, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or running, or maybe some type of workshops, things like that. But I don't really need so many things to be happy anymore. I think it changed for me a lot now that I'm getting older, and I just need like stability, and I need peace. I don't really want to do too many things. I just want to put my energy into things that I really like, instead of doing things because other people are doing them. So for me, yeah, what matters is just like a really simple life in a city. I don't really want to live in a village, but in a city that's smaller, maybe around like 200,000 people. I think that's a good size. And yeah, again, a city with good air quality, a city with a lot of nature, you know. And like, I'm not fucking obliged to stay here if I don't want to stay here. You know, I can come here for a couple months and see how it is, and yeah, if I don't like it, I can move on and go to another place. And I know that, yeah, I have a kid, so it's a little bit more difficult to do that, because, you know, I have a kid and I have to be responsible, and I have to make sure that my kid is comfortable and that she doesn't have to experience my stress because moving, it's a lot of stress. It's not like an easy thing to do. But again, as a parent, I don't think you have to sacrifice yourself just because you want to give your kid as much stability as possible. I think you also have to think about yourself a little bit, because if you're unhappy, then obviously that's going to have a big effect on your child. So you got to make sure that you put yourself in the right place, because your kid or your children are gonna reflect kind of how you are and how you feel. So right now, the thing that I'm trying to do for me and my girlfriend, she also wants this, is to like have a much more peaceful life, so we have more time for ourselves, and so we're not rushing, we're not always thinking about work or productivity or doing this or doing that or going here or spending money on this. We kind of just want a little bit of simplicity, a couple things, or to do a couple things that we love every day, and just to spend a lot of time with our daughter. And I feel like, I don't want to generalize, but I feel like a lot of people, they just get caught up in a place like this, a big city, and the city kind of takes them over, and they forget what they want to do. They forget what makes them happy, because there's just so much going on around them, and there's just so much noise that they forget who they are and what they really need. And I'm really grateful that I have a partner who's very aware of herself, aware of what she wants, and that also makes me aware. And I'm also grateful that I'm very aware of what I want and how I want to live my life. And that I was raised in a way where I don't really like to follow crowds. I don't really like to follow people. I like to kind of do my own thing. And that kind of gives me this attitude of it gives me this attitude of, I do what I want. I do what makes me happy. I live the life that I want to live, and I don't live the life that somebody else tells me to live, because of fear or whatever. And even if I have to struggle, I'm still gonna create the life that I want to create, instead of following some idea or some ideas that people put out, for us. Okay, so that was quite long-winded, but I think that was good. I don't know if anybody's watching still, but I was just ranting, and I'm watching the comments, and it's very quiet right now, so I think it's okay just to talk a little bit, no? But let me turn the camera other way around so you guys can see, because I'm gonna head home. 1 sec. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's very nice now. I think it is past 10:30 right now, so it's quite late. So that is the snow. Yeah, I think that it's going to snow probably a lot tonight. So that's going to be really nice, because when we wake up in the morning, everything is going to be covered. And I think I would like to go out in the morning time somewhere just to experience that. Well, this is another reason why I came out right now, because I just looked out the window and it was snowing, and I don't know, that made me happy in some way, and I wanted to experience the snow. And it was actually very hard to put on my clothes and be like, okay, I'm gonna go outside into the cold. Because why? When I can just stay inside, make a nice warm tea, cuddle up with my girlfriend. But yeah, instead I went outside into the cold snow like a hunter. So yeah, I think I am gonna finish right now, because it's been almost an hour. I try to not do more than an hour right now. Or I don't really want to do more than an hour, because yeah, now it's time to sleep, because it is quite late, and I would like to prepare for tomorrow also. I think it's good to have like a nice night routine. You know, do some journaling, maybe a little bit of stretching, make a tea, read a book. Like a nice, simple, nightly routine to just put you in the right state. So yeah, we're almost home. So I'm gonna actually sign out now. I don't know if anybody's still watching, but anyways, thank you so much. I hope that this was useful in some way. I'm sure it was useful in some way to somebody. Because when I watch some streams of people just talking random stuff about their life, I always catch something that I can use in my life. Alright, so thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys next one. Yeah? And have a beautiful night or day wherever you are. Peace, peace.